lecture, we are going to talk about organizational principles for process management. This set of principles refer to the organizational design levers that we can use to improve process management in a company. In particular, there are two principles belonging to this category: process ownership and job and roles redesign. Process ownership is based on the key assumption that we need to link the process orientation with the traditional organizational structure, which could be functional or divisional. To manage this link, we can introduce the role of process owner, which is fundamental in process management. The process owner is the responsible of the process, and she is in charge of monitoring process effectiveness and efficiency. The process owner is also the responsible of the process outputs and performances towards the final customer. It is important to underline that the process owner is not the hierarchical responsible of the resources involved in the process that she coordinates. In fact, the resources are still under the responsibility of the functional or divisional manager, with the process owner not having a formal authority. For this reason, the process owner needs relational and leadership competencies, mediating the different needs and motivating resources to contribute to the process goals. Typically, the process owner belongs to the function that is more involved in the process in terms of activities to be performed. The process owner could be of two types: strategic process owner or operational process owner. The strategic process owner is the responsible of the process at the global level. She defines the overall goals of the process and its performance indicators. She is responsible of the average performances of the process, and she is in charge of its continuous improvement. She typically comes from the top management of the company. So, for example, the strategic process owner of the new product development process could be the chief of the technical area. Her main responsibilities are planning of the process and targeted level of performances, organizing the flow of process in activities and resources, communicating with resources and managers to explain the rationale behind the organization of the process and to motivate people to adopt the process orientation and meet the targets, and controlling the performances of the process in order to improve when needed. The operational process owner is instead responsible of the single instance of the process. Using the previous example about the automotive company, the operational process owner is the one responsible for the development of a specific new car model. We can have two different types of operational process owner. The case manager is responsible of answering to the needs of a single customer, solving problems when needed and taking charge of the requests of the customer. Or the contract manager, who is responsible of the performance of the single contract or product going through design and production process until the delivery to the final customer. To conclude, the process ownership principle helps the achievement of process goals and allows the continuous improvement. Let's now talk about the jobs and roles redesign principle. The key point of this principle is to redesign the way people work within the organization in order to facilitate the integration between the process orientation and the organizational structure. With this principle, in fact, the need for coordination can decrease by increasing the autonomy of resources involved in the process. How can we apply this principle in practice? We need job redesign of several kinds. Job enrichment, aimed at providing more autonomy and power to people working on a specific activity, or job enlargement, assigning more tasks to the same position in order to reduce the need for coordination along the process, since the activities are performed by the same person, or for similar reason, using work groups and delegation, increasing the responsibility of people carry on activities along the process. Of course, in order to increase autonomy, power, responsibilities, and number of activities performed, a key lever is training. In general, we can say that job redesign can help the organization in reducing the number of hierarchical levels, becoming flatter, and consequently fostering a horizontal flow of information and therefore a process orientation. Which are the benefits of this principle? Through job and roles redesign, not only we reduce the need for coordination, but we also increase involvement of the people working in the process, and consequently there could be a positive motivational effect on the adoption of the process orientation.